I mean, I've worked with each person on the panel at different points, except Mr. Tony. Michael and I have been doing business on our grow products for insurance distribution, and then with IODG as well on also insurance distribution, but in terms of logistics, right, for GIT and marine. So today we're going to dive into the role of technology, right, in insurance distribution. So my first question goes to Michael. And this is how can technology help bridge the gap in insurance access in emerging and undeserved markets?
Well, thank you, moderator, and very special thanks to the Curacao team for inviting us and for having us join these very special events. Technology will do a lot if we do the lot required of us to position it where it ought to be. There's a lot that has happened in terms of technology adoption. So I would start with one of the technologies, mobile. Mobile adoption has grown significantly, right? If you see the stat as at September this year that NCC pushed, we're over 160 million unique mobile devices sitting in people's hands. Yeah. So that is technology penetration. And from where I come from, we call it a railroad. A railroad means you can ride on it to push things. So maybe if we ride on this railroad, right, and another railroad provided by the banking space, right, let's say something like the POS channels. Right now, we are very aware that we have close to 40 million and even more, and even growing POS active devices scattered all over the country. So that's another railroad that we can also leverage on, right? So these railroads enable us get to where most times our corporate presence can't get to. So allowing us to penetrate this space, technology provides that. And then in course of the conversation, someone mentioned the issue of trust. Yeah. I used to say that trust is the blood of commerce. If you remove a human being's blood, he will pass on. So if you take out trust from commerce, there will be no commerce. So one of the things that it has enabled us to do is to provide a level of confidence in service delivery. So when we put all this together, you see that it enables us get to places that we can ordinarily not get to. It enables us communicate with people that ordinarily will not be able to communicate with. And then it enables us also serve people that ordinarily will not be able to serve. I'll give another example, the USSD technology, right? So it's also one other technology that we can use to also serve a certain kind of market. Maybe as we proceed, we'll provide a couple of other angles on how technology can help us access new markets.
Okay, thank you for that. So bringing it home a little bit, Abon, this is for you. I know that you've been able to use technology to resell insurance to your customers, right? I mean, not everybody has been able to buy into insurance. I mean, we still have a long way to go. Insurance penetration in Nigeria is less than 3%, right? So what technological innovations do you think is proven the most effective in making insurance accessible to the wider population?
Hi everyone. So I would say, because the logistic space, right, is quite interesting. So I think I'll just give you backstory, right? Shibo, what we do basically is we aggregate logistic partners for businesses, right? So at the very start, when we started, the issue was, we have different logistic companies they have different ways they handle insurance, the way they do their claims, the amounts and all of that, right? So we needed a partner, right, that could streamline all of that. We found Curacell. So in finding Curacell, what happened is that now people are able to get insurance in different ways. So an idea would be on a bumper store. I don't know if anybody knows bumper, or a paystack store. They are able to purchase insurance directly, like from their checkouts. That was not possible before, right? And that's a partnership between, Shibobble and Curacell. So some of the ways, I'll say first, because when we first started, the issue was the price, right? A lot of people were saying, I'm paying a delivery of 2.5. Why do I need to pay an insurance fee of like 1,000, right? So, we looked around and we're like, how can we better sell this to them? So we came up with strategies like, if your item is high in value, you must purchase insurance. We started looking at things like routes, right? Because different routes have like different risk, right? If I'm delivering from Lekki to Lekki, it's different if I'm delivering from like Lekki to maybe Sokoto or something, right? So how do we, based on your routes, how do we better section the service that we are giving you, right? So I think those two things so far have worked, right? Using data to drive like, what prices we are giving these guys, and also like just forcing them product wise to just get it. But the adoption has been high. I mean, from the statistics, when we started, we probably just do maybe 5 claims, 5 policies like a week. Now we get like, hundreds of that, a week, and, it's keep growing basically. So yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that you dropped that data. So let's bring it down to InsurTech, like insurance technology companies, and this is for Mr. Tony. With the emergence of insurance technologies, companies that are rising up here and there, right? Do you think that they're disrupting the insurance space? And how do you think that the traditional insurance companies can integrate these innovations that are coming up with the insurance technology companies?
Okay, definitely they are. Like before now, insurance will do a lot of things manual, and with this disruption, it's really, really good. It's good for the industry because I believe it's going to there's going to be more penetration in the insurance market, which is one thing that we really need. I know that partnerships with some of these InsurTechs have really helped in selling to even people we never believed would buy insurance before now. So you find out most insurance companies have been dealing with the public sector and corporate institutions. For individuals, it was really neither here nor there. We're not really doing much, but this has really helped the system. And for me, insurance companies should make sure that they find a way to be part of this. And it's very easy. One, they can decide to invest in InsurTechs. So you can actually invest in InsurTechs so that you can be part of the whole system. Or you could create an InsurTech company yourself as an insurance company. You could do that, and or you could acquire. So they could also do some kind of acquisition. These are some of the things that they can do. And insurance companies need to be ready. And how do you need to be ready? I give you an example. You cannot work with any InsurTech if you don't have API, for example. So any insurance company that don't have platforms that are API enabled, they're going to have problems in integrating with these guys because there's nothing you do with them without API. So these are part of things the insurance companies must be ready with. So they must have platforms that are API enabled, and then, like I said earlier, you should be able to be ready to invest in these platforms. And then their products should be made in such a way now that they can be sold online real time. So not about someone coming to your office and you start giving him paper to fill. You should make sure that your products can be sold online real time. So these are some of the things insurance companies should prepare themselves for if they want to be part of this movement. Thank you.
So thank you for that. I hear a lot of positives, and I mean positive outcomes are really nice. But in your expert opinion, do you think there's been any drawbacks with the emergence of insurance technology companies?
Well, the drawbacks, like I said, is for insurance companies that are not willing to change. if they want to do the things the way it was before, it won't work. At the beginning, yes, there were some drawbacks. People were not ready. Insurance companies were not ready to invest in that area, but they are beginning to see the reality, right? Even NICOM has now even become part of the whole thing. NICOM is now promoting it also, so they know that there's no going back. Before now, one of the issues were there was no regulation for those kind of insurance, InsurTechs and all that. But now there are regulations. So the insurance companies have no choice. But what most of them are having now is now they're beginning to build their platforms and all that. But those who were proactive have already started taking the center stage. Yeah.
Thank you. So we know that for us to make any significant progress, even in the country or in the economy, there has to be lots of collaborations and partnerships, right? This question is for Michael. How can partnerships with fintechs or telcos open new markets for insurers?
Okay, thanks again for that question. Everyone has their area of specialty. If the people who have specialty are allowed to focus on their area of specialty, let those who do programming stay on programming. Let those who do underwriting stay in underwriting, right? So that we'll build capabilities that are required to, extract value from digital ecosystem. We've seen a couple of growth and innovations. We've seen a couple of adaptation of technology in our space. It is still not where a couple of competing nations are, right? So I guess if we allow those who have specialties in their areas to focus, and then we partner with them to explore their areas of expertise, it will help all of us to grow. I thought of a couple of things. First, the fact that it is not every company that can jump into adoption of technology at the same phase. Just like he mentioned. So let's say we classify them A, B, C, and D, right? And what we call digital maturity. Some people are in A, some people are in B, some people are in C, some people are in D. So the way A will adopt technology is not the same way B will adopt technology. If they think they can do that, it will be a lie, right? And it will lead to blame games and unmet expectations. So a couple of people need to build bandwidth, and just like we know, for every digital investment, it has a gestation period, right? So we've seen instances where somebody spends 20 million to put together a technology, and it tells you that, look, by the end of in 6 months, make sure that you would have given me 25 million. It doesn't work like that, right? So it's either you build or you buy. Just like he said, it's not everyone that has that bandwidth to build. So there's also another aspect of digital capability, right? We don't all have it at the same, pace. So why not, as you're testing the waters, even, buy or even subscribe, as the case may be, so that you can test the waters enough. And I think one of the areas where I feel that those of us who already have serious expertise in these fields need to do to help with the partnership is to help people understand how to start. Typically we are very proud people, right? Everybody knows about AI. Everybody knows about machine learning. Knows about, not know, not understand, but knows about, right? So we mistake that knows about, for understand. So someone comes and tells you AI, tells you machine learning, but they don't understand the ABC of being onboarded on a platform that helps them take advantage of the machine learning, benefits. So because of that, there is that, in quotes, communication gap. So, and it will also affect the level of alignment towards partnership, right? So maybe if we get decision makers in a room, right, and seminar the ABC of onboarding. In fact, as, in quotes, exposed as I was, right, with machine learning, it was until very recently that I got to know that, okay, how do I build the data capability required to start taking advantage of, ML, right? So people need to understand that questions like, yes, we've been operating, we have our data in files, right? How do we take advantage of the plenty things you're talking about machine learning? So it will only be a theory until that communication gap is bridged. And once that happens, you will see that people have more willingness, right, to adopt that technology and then extract the advantage that lies there. Finally, on this point, InsurTechs are meant to be collaborators with underwriters. Once InsurTech continue to give the impression that they are competing with underwriters, right, you will see a silent aggression from the underwriters. And you cannot deliver successful partnership if that mindset is there. So what that means is enable them to be the superstars that you think they can be, right? And don't assume that they understand your space. No. Because of pride, they want to give the impression that they don't understand that space. I'm saying from someone who has been inside, right? Everybody will tell you about InsurTech. Only very few people understand the InsurTech. And you have people who don't understand, they take decisions. So the only way those decisions will favor you if they are properly educated on the know-how of that body of knowledge. And that way, it will be easy for you to convert them to adopt the value that you're proposing.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I wanted to put you on the spot, but we're just going to move on. So I think the question I actually or initially wanted to ask was about the InsurTech companies, right? Either acting or being threatened or coming for the underwriters. I would like you to shed more light on that. The reason why I'm asking is I know that initially there has been some roadblocks, right, in that regard, where it felt like there was a competition between the InsurTechs and the traditional insurance companies. And I don't think there should be any competition, right? Like you said, it's supposed to be a collaboration, because without the traditional insurance guys or even the underwriters, there's really not much the insurance technologies companies can do, right? They're providing you the technology, and even if they have their own team of insurance experts, there's still going to be that loophole, right? So can you shed more light as to why you feel that was the situation or that was the case?
Okay. All of us are competing for the same pots of fish, right? You're doing distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that there is a move somewhere, right, to put together a certain regulation for InsurTechs. And part of the conversation is that InsurTech should be empowered to do a bit of underwriting, right? Now, if that happens, whether we like it or not, either of two things will happen. It's either will increase the size of the pie, right, so that there is more pie to go around, or the one that all of us are focused on will now reshare it. So if we now reshare it, the implication is that what you have would have reduced, and nobody wants a reduction on what they have, right? So because of that, so the implication is that there will be a resistance towards that. However, there's something I mentioned when I had a chat with some of the regulators. I said, look, right now, all of us, irrespective of what we have been doing in the last 50-something years, we've been struggling around 2%, right? I doubt if there's anyone here who is as old as the origin of insurance in Nigeria. There's nobody. So that means insurance predates everyone seated here. So, so what that means is that we've been on this for this length of time and we're still doing 2%. So imagine if we now move from 2% to 6%, if 2% gives us about 7 trillion, right? Imagine what 5% will give to us, right? So I guess where they should be coming from is let the market see how you can blow up the pie so that there'll be enough for everybody to share, right? If they've not seen that, they will be feeling that they want to come and take from this 2%, that all of us are struggling to grab. Because you remember that these 2%, we have brokers taking the lion's share. We have agents taking the next one. And then technology people, where do you want to come and take? Is it from the broker or from the agent? So we should be shining light towards how we can open up and increase that pie. But everyone is excited that, look, even if you open that pie, you might not be able to consume everything you've opened. There will still be small that will come from it. That way, they will push you to open the pie so that there will be enough for everybody to share.
So keyword open the buy. Interesting. Okay, now let's just bring it down to consumer awareness, right? Again, we already talked about the insurance penetration in Africa and then bringing it home to Nigeria. This question is for everyone. Whoever wants to go first. Now, how do we create awareness? Right, where we need to educate the public or the masses on the benefits of insurance. I mean, we all talk about insurance penetration, but not a lot of people fully understand it, right? People feel like, oh, these insurance companies just want to take my money. And a lot of us ride on God forbid this, God forbid that. Everyone is just being prayerful. I mean, no shade to that. There's nothing wrong with praying, but then again, we also need to be able to make wise decision. Now, for people to make wise decision, they need to be educated on how to make those wise decisions or why they should even take that decision in the first place. So, how can technology help us to create more awareness?
Actually, insurance companies have actually been trying in one or two ways to educate. Even though we've not done enough, there's still ways of doing more. But with the emergence of the online things and all that, the social media and all that, you find out that it's also helping. People are beginning to talk about insurance online. Even on Facebook, you see people talking about insurance and people are asking questions. This actually happens. But one of the things I believe is getting people, the younger people, to understand it. They are, whether you like it or not, they are the majority. So if we can start from there, why can't we? I've been to about 2 schools, to discuss about insurance and discuss about how about money, and one of the schools was even a secondary school, and I was surprised that they didn't even know what insurance means. They didn't even know what it means, and I was able to talk to them. I was able to educate them, and they were able to ask me very sensible questions, and it's something that really made me know that, look, it's not just talking to the older people. You need to start creating it in their minds from the young ones, if most times, okay, let's talk about, let me digress a bit. Let's talk about when the British came to Nigeria, I'm sure they didn't start teaching the senior people how to speak English. There was a plan. Okay, we want Nigerians to start speaking English. So what did they do? They started from, you need to learn it in school. So they started from the younger ones. And today, virtually everybody speaks English, right? So I think that's one of the things we need to do. We need to make it as a plan. If we had started this 10, 15 years ago, you can imagine where we'll be now. So it's something that I think, for me, we should start from the younger ones and begin to take it up. And then now that a lot of people are savvy, internet savvy and all that, I was reading something about what they call, I think, is it gamification? Yes, gamification, yes. I was reading, and it was very interesting, where you offer people some kind of gift if they're able to go through a course online. And then you make an insurance course and people go online, go through those courses, and if they're able to get to the end, they get one kind of gift or one kind of reward or the other. These are things that will also encourage people to begin to take some of these lectures and begin to understand these things, and that's how things work. Me personally, I'm an insurance person, and I read insurance. I actually read insurance, and at a point when all these things were coming up, and at the point I was in a company and heading retail, and then they now introduced the e-channels, and they made e-channel to be in my department. And I didn't even know a thing about it, and they now put someone there, and each time I ask the person a question, I say, we start to use big words, SEO, CED. And I was like, what are you talking about? And at the point, I just went online and I was able to get an online course, and I went through the online course, got some certifications on, and I began to understand a lot of these things, So it's the same way, you need to make people build interest in this. And I'm telling you, we'll be able to get it. Thank you.
So to add to that, right? I think if you look at the companies that have succeeded in Nigeria, tech companies basically, right? Something that they've been able to do is how do we bring our services closer to like the customers? So typically when you put tech in Nigeria, there's like a gap because we have like a lot of informal people in this country, right? So I think one way for this awareness, right, is how do we bring these services in the languages that, our people, our economy understands? So something like, for example, one thing we do at Shibobo is, I don't know if you guys know, but people are able to purchase insurance for their logistic packages directly from their WhatsApp, right? So ideally, if you wanted to do that, you have to go to maybe a Quora sale, you sign up, you do all of that, right? So I think one way to drive that is localizing these services, right? Going deep into these communities. Tech is also like part of it, but you have to augment it in some ways. You have to localize that access, and I think that is like the start. Once this services starts getting localized, using the agents network, all of that, I think the awareness will be raised basically. Because one thing we've seen is that once you let them know, once you communicate properly, like I said, there was a time insurance was a foreign concept on our products, right? But communicating to users, letting them know the reasons why they need to insure their packages, just feeding them information every time, they just get away over time and, they start adopting.
Wow, awesome. Awesome. So funny enough, he has addressed the first part, which is go down to the schools. Funny how we say the young shall grow and we don't understand the implication. We're having a conversation here when we're talking about the emergence of the Gen Z in the workplace. The level of disruption that will bring in the workplace. It will happen. The reason is because life is a marathon. Right? You run and you hand over your baton. And life doesn't beg you to hand over your baton. You will have to hand over your baton. When your time is up, you hand over. It's either you hand it over prepared or you hand it over unprepared, but somehow you hand over your baton. And guess what? You hand it over to somebody, right, who is coming from mostly a generation after you. And that generation, they have certain proclivities. So now, I was also telling, when we were having the conversation, I was saying the generation after them, you need to pay attention to that generation. They also have different sets of proclivities, right? Now, that generation, maybe we need to go there and speak the language there. When agency banking was rolled out, an example, it didn't just grow like wildfire. I remember that there is a body called Bankers Committee. They put together some funds in partnership with CBN, and they gave to about 10 or 12 organizations. They called them super agents. Now, these super agents were given a mandate to go grassroots. So what they did is that they invaded communities, invaded localities, because, of course, there was enough motivation to do that. So that invasion helped this whole BVN enrollment that you've seen that happen. Because they were doing BVN enrollment, they were doing account opening. So that's how this invasion happened. So that initiative set the stage. So that will be something that I think the industry can do to also drive, this education and awareness. Then the second thing is what we have also said. Now, who says we can't partner with certain schools to deploy special purpose modules? Right? We are the tech people in quote. Deploy special purpose modules. The money that we're using for marketing, use it to gamify for that module. Right? There are maybe organizations like the telcos. Because as a typical student, You would, those of us sitting here, airtime might not be a very big thing for you. But you know, as a university student, airtime is a serious matter for you. So find ways, they have CSRO programs, find ways maybe partner with them so that that's part of the CSRO will be to push those data as part of the reward for the gamification. So you build your model and then you gamify people to onboard or to adopt the model, right? So it is not something that, in all fairness, one insurance company can do. No. It is something that the insurance community has to collaborate to deploy. It's good that we have things like NIA as an umbrella body for the community. Maybe that level of interaction, can also happen via that body. And of course, thank God for the technology bandwidth that Kurase have. You can push that technology component of it. Leverage your strengths to push that. Of course, if you're the one driving it, they say the husbandman will be the first partaker. So once the partaking things come, because you're the one that have built the technology, it'll be easy to be the first partaker. I believe this has addressed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So basically, what I've learned from all you've said today, the first one is to localize insurance access, build interest in the younger generation and even the masses. And then the third one is to partner with schools to deploy special purpose models. Now, when we talked about the role of technology, take home was basically increasing the digital capability of the insurance companies. Insurance companies should be able to build a solid API structure to collaborate with the InsurTechs. Everyone should be open to growth and expansion, and then also increasing the buys. So just to wrap up, I will let the audience ask questions or give us feedback on anything they would like to. Awesome.
Thank you. So I actually just have one or two things to add to the aspect of the awareness. So awareness is very key. If you see the amount of money Coca-Cola is spending on their adverts, you'll be amazed. But the current advert Coca-Cola are doing is not meant for you and me.
Yeah.
Because we've been bought already.
Yeah.
Right? So the advert they are doing is for those children, those little ones coming up. So they come up with those adverts registering in their own head. So this is just to further buttress the points those our panelists were hammering on. We should get back to the ground. We should create that awareness. I had the privilege when I had my little shift from technology to business development. I had the privilege of going to Ghana to spend 2 weeks to understudy a company called Star Micro. Star Micro happens to be the first micro insurance in the whole of Africa. Yes. And they were doing something extraordinarily well. The regulators were like, these guys are creating awareness. We don't understand what they're doing. So they came back to the drawing table to meet them and say, guys, come. You guys are doing excellent. In fact, they didn't get to know that until there was a fire incident in Accra, one of the biggest markets, around 2013. And surprisingly, Star Micro drove in there. And they are insured, their clients, they were paying them checks. These were guys that were crying that they've lost everything, but they were issuing them their claims check. They validate your system. Yeah, your policy is okay. You understand? So while others were crying, right? Others were celebrating, and you can imagine the ripple effect. So most of those other parts of the market that were not insured, they were rushing in to buy the insurance. So this works, right? It's just like the emphasis somebody made, one of the, I think, second panelists, that said people will always want to verify if it works. So, and they were there at the scene of the accident, they were settling there. And no story, no argument. So other people who were not there, they were rushing to get there. So one of the things, again, we're not doing is that we don't tell our stories. We must learn the act of storytelling. We must tell our stories the way it is. We pay claim. As of today, I would say, if I should mention the figures of claims we have paid, is in billions. I'm saying from January to date. But how many people know? The story is always insurance don't pay claim, don't pay claim, because we don't tell our story. And my friend Ayodiji emphasized on translating our adverts into our languages. Who are we targeting? When you have the pyramid, you go to the lower part of the echelon. And who are those guys? They are those, that's the largest space of the SME. Those are the people that's the hotspots. That's a $1 billion market that we need to crack. But there is a gap. They don't understand what we're talking about. Probably during our panel, we'll be able to talk about NLP, and that's natural language processing. We'll take advantage of that in AI, so that those guys, they can understand what we are doing. I played in retail space, I'm sure you remember. One of the problems I had was the policy. Somebody who bought a policy of 1,005 from me, I'm giving him 4 pages. I have to go back to meet the underwriting guys and said, I don't understand. This is too much. And sometimes we begin to see those ancient English. Did you understand? Thus far, do you understand all those complex English? I have to say, no, I don't need this. He said, look, don't give me headache. Go and redesign this. If it meets my expectation, we'll go ahead, we'll use it. I went back, I reduced that policy document to just 1 pager. And we had a half-pager policy schedule. The policy document is just 1 pager. We captured all the scopes and the critical exceptions. No more, no less. If you have claim, bring it. That's your contract. We'll pay you. So from the moment we're able to do that, it even makes awareness creation seamless. Thank you.
Thank you.
For us to really look at awareness creation, we must simplify. We must simplify. Someone once told me, if you cannot say what you need to say in 3 words, then you've not really spoken, you've not really communicated. So we must simplify what insurance is to each and everybody. And we can't wait for regulators. We won't wait for regulators. And NIA is helping. We are all individually as individuals helping. But there has to be a common, simple language in which you can use in communicating insurance across, whether as InsurTech, whether as insurance provider, general life, or even whether as the other middlemen brokers. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question that originated from the discussions that we have, and also is tailored to what we are actually looking at, driving insurance penetration. And I understand that we have spoke about increasing the pipe, right? Having that collaboration between InsurTech and underwriter, so that there won't be any discrepancies. Then we've also addressed the issue of awareness, right? But then I'm looking at penetration, because at the moment, I think one of the panelists mentioned that, yeah, the penetration rate at the moment is still 2%. And the 2% we are looking at is 7 trillion. Just imagine if we increase that to like 6%, all right? But then, if we are driving awareness to the grassroots, is it also, I'm not ruling out the regulators, is it also possible to also bring in the regulators and also make like maybe a statutory or make it a law that even at the grass level, all right, these children they are insured, all right, probably in most likely maybe in terms of health, all right, so that will increase, like as they are growing, they understand, they are being taught, they are also like have that awareness that, oh, we have this insurance and we are also benefiting from the insurance. So this memory or this impact, like we last long with them and they are able to like carry it on. Not like, oh, we go to school, they taught us this and there's no impartation. Yeah.
In actual sense, I spoke about some schools we went to, and one of the things we did in those schools was at the end of each training, we actually gave free insurance to I think 20 of the students. So what we did was people who answered questions, yes. So students who answered questions correctly, we issued them policy. We took their names and all and announced that we're going to issue them the policy, and then we went back the following day. We sent the policies to them. So we actually do that. It's a very fantastic idea. And one of the things again that came up, we have this tool called, I think it's I spend online or something like that. I think spend online. Yes, you know, these guys came up with something very innovative, and we really liked it as a company, and we have really been supporting them. Now, they came up with something. Coca-Cola goes to do something, and when they want to give reward, they give Coca-Cola to the people, you know, and Nestle wants to do something, the same thing, they give their products. But anytime insurance companies go to do something, they want to give a gift, they give products, other people's products. and they said, that's not right. What we should be doing, we should give our own products to them. And we liked the idea, and we stood behind them. And right now, we've been to Unilag, we were able to give some awards, and we give the gifts we gave to them was insurance. We covered some of the lecturers, covered some of the students. We did the same thing in LASU, and we've been going to so many other higher institutions and giving for free. And what we do is that we'll get insurance companies to sponsor. So, like, I think for the LASU, a particular insurance company sponsored it. For Unilag, I think we sponsored it. You know, like that for different organizations, we get insurance. So it's actually paid for, but it's paid for by the insurance company and then given to the students for free. So it's a fantastic idea, and it's one of the things it does is that it actually inputs something in their mind, not just that they heard about it, they now experience it. So I think it makes it better. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome idea, right? Before you ask that question, Ayodeji had told me that isn't insurance compulsory? When you ask the question around, yes, how come we don't have insurance? So he asked me that, isn't insurance compulsory? Insurance is compulsory. And there is a law that backs compulsory insurance, right? Our challenge is not lack of laws. Our challenge is lack of justice, right? So how many people want to be part of that setup that will drive the enforcement? Whoever is going to be driving the enforcement has to be paid, because the person is somebody's father or somebody's mother. And that person needs to go home at the end of 30 days with something. So who will fund that initiative? Which is where we now lead us to the collaboration. So there are those laws. So have you not been driving in Lagos and you see somebody with audacity using one way, and you stop the person even yab you that what is wrong? What is wrong with you? So is that to say that there are laws? But that person maybe knows that if last mile, you know, any of the authority, he might just even drop something, right? And then he moves on. So he knows that there is a price for the offense, and the price is affordable. So provided that knowledge is established, the offense will continue. But if you make that price not affordable, then that offense will reduce. Are we together? So the thing is, we have those laws in existence. The enforcement are the issues. There are loopholes to it. So until that changes, we'll keep having this kind of conversation.
Thank you. Just to add to what he's saying, they've actually done the enforcement, which we're aware of, which is the cameras. However, I think it's just within Lagos and some areas. So now they don't need last man to stop your car. Once you drive past, the camera has already picked it, and you receive an SMS. And you keep receiving an SMS. There was a time a client paid maybe 100,000 or 120,000, himself and his wife, insurance and some papers. Meanwhile, he didn't renew insurance, and it was that particular year. So if they can adopt same in other states in Nigeria, it will help a long way. As long as you have a car, you drive past, the camera is taking your picture. When you want to renew your license, you have to pay all those fees. If not, that way you can't incentivize one maybe last man or someone to allow you pass. So if they can adopt that same concept in the entire country, for motor insurance only, it will help our insurance penetration in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, everyone. This has been very insightful. I've learned a lot today, honestly. So thank you for your contribution. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Abo, and thank you, Mr. Tony. So, all right.